So to get rid of our bake, I'm going to click on my domain again. I'm going to scroll down, click on free all, and that's going to free Blender's memory up so that it doesn't really know what we did, okay? And it just clears and resets everything. Now I want to enable my cube in viewport again. I want to click on my inner cube here. And remember, I'm in X-ray mode. If you don't know how to get to that, it's right here on the top right. I'm going to go ahead and click on inflow instead of geometry within our physics properties. And now this should actually flow like a faucet. Now, why is this useful? Well, I'm going to show you. I'm going to make our domain a little bit bigger so we can add some more things inside of our domain. I'm also going to switch to wireframe mode so it's easier to see what we have selected. I want to go ahead and add in another cube, and I want to scale it down on the z-axis, all right? Scale it up a little bit. I want to make a thin platform, and I want to put it underneath of this object. Now, I want this to actually be an obstacle. So there's another version of fluid properties that we can add, and it's called an obstacle. To do this, I will simply click on Fluid, type Effector, okay? Now, this effector is essentially going to be an obstacle for our fluid to get past. And we don't really have to change too much here, but notice this surface thickness option. This is very similar to the collision margin. It basically means where is the fluid going to hit? Is it going to hit exactly on the surface? Is it going to hit above the surface? Well, let's find out. Let's go ahead and click on our domain. Let's lower our resolution to 40, just so that this bakes a little bit quicker for us. I'm going to click on bake. Now look how fast it's going since we lowered our resolution. Remember, higher resolution means more realistic, but it takes a lot longer. All right, let's go ahead and play this back. And look at that. We go ahead and switch to solid mode, get out of X-ray mode here. We can see that if we back this up and we press play, our fluid flows around our obstacle, just like that. Pretty cool. And it keeps on flowing because remember, we changed our cube to inflow. So it'll act as a faucet and continue to flow outwards rather than just dropping. Now, I do want to show you the difference real quick. If I click on my domain, I click on free all, I will go ahead and reset that inner cube to geometry just to show you. And then I'll click on our domain. I will bake again. And now let's see the difference here. Let's see what it looks like when we just drop that cube on top of our platform. It'll just look like it's just dispersing. So let's go ahead and get out of X-ray mode. Let's go ahead and wait for this to play back. And that's what it looks like. Go ahead and hide that. Again, playing it back from the beginning. It's not flowing like a faucet anymore. It's just simply dropping on top of our platform. Now there's a very important setting that normally wasn't enabled in older versions of Blender, but I wanted to go over it because it might trip you up if it's not enabled automatically. Within our liquid property right here, you'll see there's a lot of options. One of the most important ones is mesh. Mesh basically means, hey Blender, instead of showing just particles and little particles flowing around, I want you to actually convert this into an actual object, which is what this is right here, so that we can actually see it. If I uncheck mesh, and then I click on bake all again, just want to show you what that's going to look like. Really not going to look like anything. We have to switch to wireframe mode to even see our physics simulation. Now, if this is the visual effect you're going for, awesome. As you can see, it's just going to be treated as particles, but there's no actual physical object. It's just Blender's way of saying, okay, here's how these particles are simulated, and here's how they would flow as a liquid. Now, what is cool is this kind of helps us get a fundamental understanding of how Blender's actually calculating these physics. We're basically just taking a bunch of little spheres and figuring out how they would collide with each other and interact based on our settings. It actually looks quite cool, and there's a lot of cool things you can do with this. But since this is a beginner's course, I'm going to go ahead and switch back to mesh here. I'm going to free all, bake one more time, and we're going to go back to the way that we first started. And as soon as that hits frame 100, I'm going to switch back to solid view. That way, we can see exactly what our physics simulation looks like. There's one last thing I want to go over. If we click on our physics simulation, we can of course right-click and shade smooth, and it looks a little smoother. But there's actually one more thing we can do to make this fluid look just a little bit better, and it's the same thing we do with all of our other physics simulations. We add a subdivision surface modifier. And as soon as we do that, our computer is going to slow down just a little bit, but it'll allow us to achieve that second level of quality. And you can already see how much better that looks. Be very careful because I'm recording with OBS right now, so my computer already wants to catch on fire. So be careful how high you set that value to. And if I were you, I would only enable it in render so that you get that extra level of smoothness and quality.